Welcome to this hip rebalancing and strengthening practice. We'll start lying down, and for this practice we'll need 2 blankets, 2 blocks, and a strap. Finding your way into Supta Baddha Konasana, supine bound angle pose. If you wish to support your outer legs, please do feel free. It can be very relaxing for some to make sure that that inner groin, inner thigh musculature is not overstretched when you're trying to relax and breathe. I do like to take the flat edge of the block against the flat edge of the outer legs and use the block therefore at a wedged angle rather than having the block flat and the edge of the sharp edge of the block digging into the body. I instead flatten the block against the body and then wedge it into the mat. So you can do that at various angles. And sometimes people even put it up on the highest angle, although that can be sometimes a little perilous or precarious, shall we say. So taking a moment to see whether you'd like to support your legs or let them dangle under gravity's pull, which is completely fine. Hands and or attention to your abdomen as you breathe deep into the low lungs. Exhale completely. Then we breathe into the lungs plus the rib cage. Expanding the ribs. Then we breathe into the low lungs, the rib cage, and the upper chest. Filling up completely. Let's do 3 more of those 3-part or Dirga breaths. Belly, rib cage, collarbone, and let it all go. 2 more like that. Belly, rib cage flares, upper chest, collarbone. Allow your whole body to slacken and soften here. No work, no pressure. Just take a moment to melt into the surfaces below you. Now removing your blocks, putting them aside. Begin with movements of the hip joint so that as your arms come out to the side, you stabilize yourself. We'll take your right leg and gently fold it across, twisting your lower body to the left, circling your right knee all the way around so you twist your lower body to the right and complete the circle. So you may notice here that my left foot is flat. I'm using it as a bit of a rudder. My right knee traces a circle all the way around. Breathing into this movement, and my arms can really work to stabilize me as I do this. Quite helpful. And the upper arm bone is really in the socket, so I'm not shrugging, letting my upper arm bone really plug in to keep the shoulder joint healthy and quite stable. Then I'll switch it up and go the other way. Notice that both of my feet are flexed, in particular my right, but also my left, the one that's ruddering on the floor. Now, this movement can be made much smaller to where you would simply circle the knee without rotating much of it all to the right and left. This is a much softer version, and you can also hold the kneecap. If there's any felt sense that you're overdoing it in the joint, doesn't feel so good, holding the knee so that you go in both directions with the knee being supported can make a huge difference in terms of comfort. And then we pause, taking the legs back to supine bound angle, Supta Baddha Konasana. Sometimes I even just put my fists on the outer edges of the upper thigh bone, or I'll grab those blocks and put them back. Take a big belly breath, 3-part breath here. Dirga, inhale, and let it go. And then we'll switch sides. Now it's the right foot ruddering along the floor, the left foot flexed as well. And again, I'm allowing my hips to turn quite a bit from right to left, though again, you may not need to or want to. You may prefer the hips to be much more stable and steady, and have it be just the leg that rotates around. Breathing into this as you go round and round. And then switch the direction, opposite way. Mobilizing the head of the femur in the hip joint. And of course, noticing that the more you rotate your pelvis from side to side, the more this becomes a spinal rotation and a little bit less of a hip joint mobilization practice. The stable pelvis version is in fact a little bit more about the hip, less about the back. All right, and then we rest once more in Supta, supine-bound angle pose. Supta Baddha Konasana. Big breath in, belly, ribs, collarbone fill up. Full breath out. One more time, deep breath in, fill up. And let it go. From here, we take the feet super wide. If your legs can move even wider than the edges of your mat, that's where we go. And for me, in order to do that, instead of having my feet close in towards the buttocks where I can still reach my heels, in order for my feet to widen as much as they really can while the knees are still bent, my feet need to move down to the foot of my mat quite a lot. Now, before I begin moving the legs in a sort of windshield wiper maneuver, I like to gently engage the abdominal muscles and slightly press my low back flat. It's not a complete flattening action. For me, my low back won't be completely flat, but it's moving in that direction. And then from here, I slowly rotate the knees internally and externally. And as I go through the center, I flatten my low back as much as I can, focusing on turning the thigh bones internally and externally, rotating the thigh bones internally, externally, getting some movement in those joint capsules of the hips, that soft tissue there that can get locked up and tight. Get a little extra blood flow going in the area, creating mobility so that we can maintain mobility. A couple more of these, slightly different windshield wipers. The legs are as wide as they can be, and the feet might be much further away from your head than you're used to having them. All right, and then gently bring the knees into the chest and just rock side to side as you massage out your back. All right, now from here, you can either take your strap and use it around your foot or simply grab the foot with your hand. I'll show with the strap here. My left leg is in a sort of half happy baby, as if I'm doing, or half Supta Baddha here. I have soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. I lift up my right foot, and bending the knee, I bring that right knee down and out to the right, twisting open to the right with the right leg. I'll stretch my left leg long down the mat with the toe and the knee facing the ceiling, getting a stretch through the inner groin. And then I rebend the right knee gently, so it's really more of a cat-cow position. Then I'll super slowly bring my right foot up in front of the body, keeping the left leg long now. Open up the right arm to the right. I can even look to the right as I fold my right knee over and across the body, twisting the pelvis to the left. The left side is where the right foot goes and the right knee stays bent. I come back to the center, keeping the knee bent now. I move this single happy baby leg out and down. May not go very far, and I don't force it. Slowly again, I sweep that right leg up and across. For some, you'll stay here where the hips are relatively stable, not so much of a twist. And for others, you may find rotating your hips left actually feels very helpful, like a good stretch. Pulling down with your left hand as you push up into the strap with your right foot, or up into your hand if you're just holding your foot. And back again one more time out to the right. Again, it's this happy baby bent leg external rotation. Stretch through the left heel. Yeah, so one leg is long down the mat, other leg is bent. Last one, twisting across. Again, choose the degree of rotation you want in your pelvis, in your spine. Might be lesser or greater. Keep the resistance, pulling the strap in the opposite direction to the movement of the leg. And place your right foot flat and take the strap or your hand to your left foot. Initially, my right knee is bent. I'm in a half bound angle with that right leg. And as I slowly move my left leg out and down in a half happy baby, I kick through the right heel, reaching long down the mat. As I bend my left knee down to the mat, I externally rotate that left leg so the knee is moving to the floor. The heel is rotating up towards the ceiling. Half happy baby in that left leg. Maintaining the bent knee, transfer the left leg to the right arm, lift and shift the head to turn the chin left, and pull against the strap. As you push your foot up to the ceiling, pull down with your right hand, stretching the outer left hip. Kick through the right leg if you wish, elongating through the down leg. Rolling back onto the back, easing that lumbar spine down, open that left leg left. Kick through the right heel. Reaching up, feel the flattening of your back as you rotate through the center line and add the degree of twist that works for you. Here's me keeping my hips pretty flat. That might be all you want to do today. Or you might say, oh yeah, no, I kind of want to rotate all the way over onto the outer right hip. Lift and shift the head right to look left if you wish, and add that resistance if you let it go. Which means that you push your left foot up against the strap and pull your right hand against the strap or foot downward and to the right. Third and final one, rotating through flat back. Easy transition. Strap into left hand or foot into left hand, opening wide. Kick through the right heel. Try to keep your right hip a bit more grounded, spreading open the front of the pelvis. And last, come back up to the center. Take both feet up into your strap and simply hold the feet in the strap evenly as you rock the legs front to back. Small rocking movement through sacrum, tailbone, and lumbar spine. All right. Now from here, we'll gently remove your strap, roll to the side, and come on up to sit. For some people, it'll help quite a bit to sit up on some height. So you could sit up on a folded blanket or two. For example, if you have a blanket in its classic rectangle, you could take it like so, fold it in half, and create this so-called strudel fold. One or two of these can be a nice platform upon which to sit as you bring your knees wide. For some, it's helpful to have a surface to put your hands on, and for others, you might even put your elbows down. I have my elbows on blocks here in case the wrists are not feeling good, and this allows me to do a leaning back variation of a seated windshield wiper. For some, however, you won't need to lean back onto the elbows. You might just place your fingertips or your palms on the floor behind you. As we lean back enough to allow the chest to stay nice and long, the chest to stay lifted so the spine is not curving, and we're simply rotating with the heels digging into the mat from side to side. The toes pull up in flexion. There we go. Again, rolling, rotating the head of the femur, the hip bone in the socket, massaging out all those muscles and connective tissues at the hip joint itself. A couple more of these. All right. Now I'll come off the blankets and come to sit in a 90-90 position, which is a bit like pigeon. Now for some, having your front leg at about 90 degrees with the foot flexed is comfortable. If it's not, however, you can always prop the front leg with a blanket, a block, or other prop as needed. And you may find yourself, when you do have your right leg forward and your left leg back, that the upper body tilts quite a bit to the side, to the right, for example. Not a problem. best you can, we bring the weight more over the right thigh, forward in this direction. So from this alignment, you can see my weight is relatively centered over the inner right thigh. Okay, I'll just rotate for the angle. Position is the same. Now finally, for some, it's nicer to put an elbow on a block, for example. Take some of the pressure off, or use your blocks in another way if you need to. Yeah, so you can use 1 or 2 blocks as needed here. What we were looking for is a lift of your chest, a drawing of your navel in and up, flexing of both feet, and we start by simply lifting and lowering your left foot. Really, it's your whole shin that rotates up and off of the mat in this internal rotation of your left thigh. So I learned this from a yogi called Nat Phippen. I believe he's Canadian, but he devised this double pigeon back leg lift, he among others. A couple more of these, just the lower leg lifting, breathing into it. And then pause, and now keep the foot grounded and see about lifting just the thigh and shin, the knee lifting, but the foot remains grounded. Again, if you need to lean a bit more to the right, give yourself space, not a problem. But if your torso can stay a bit more centered, over and in front of, above your inner right thigh, great. A couple more of these, lifting and lowering. Remembering to do that thing called breathing. All right, and then last but not least, I'm going to try not to shift too much either forward or to the right as I lift my whole left leg up. Challenging. I really do want to lean forward quite a bit. I find I feel a ton of work in that outer left hip, side waist area. IT band area, tensor fasciae lata, gluteal muscles. A lot of different muscles working here. Gluteus minimus, glute medius. All right, couple more. I even like to try to extend the leg. Oof. And then we come on down. Take a moment to massage out the outer hips. You may feel quite a difference between right and left. And let's go for the other side. Okay, so we're back at our 90-90 position. Once again, I try to lift the torso up as much as I can, draw the navel in and up so I'm not hanging in the joints. And again, I try to bring my torso more vertically above the left leg, inner left leg really, instead of tilting way off to the side. Any amount of tilt that you need is fine, but see how little you need. And then we again internally rotate our right thigh this time, lifting the foot only. You can always pad the knee if there's any discomfort under your right knee. Breathing, spine is long, neck is soft, chin is neutral as you lower and lift your right ankle. And pause. And now we lift the right knee, which brings the thigh and shin bones with it, of course, keeping the right foot grounded, external rotation of the right hip, right thigh bone. Breathing here. All right, now finally, we see if we can lift the whole right leg without leaning forward excessively or too much to the left. And you can reposition your hands to help you. I'm pushing down into the mat, particularly with my right hand, with my left as well, to help me find the leverage to lift the right leg. And I'll lift and hold, see if I can stretch the leg long, and down we come. All right. From here, we move into a variation on thread the needle. You can always take a strap to help you with thread the needle, which may mean that you take the strap, place it underneath your 2 feet, lower your feet to about 45 degrees so that you can bring your right ankle up the top middle of your left leg and find your way into a figure 4. Now for some, you'll neither need nor want the strap, and that's fine. You can simply bring the strap in like so. Now, one of the things I like to do is place the left foot flat, place the right knee here, and as you gently push the knee away from you, press your lumbar spine flat, and see if you can lift your right foot off of your left knee. So this is externally rotating your right thigh. It's a rather subtle external rotation. Try to bring your right foot up and off of your left knee. Trying not to clench your teeth. And then again, bring that left knee in. Again, you can grab your strap, put the strap around the foot as needed in order to bring the legs in to your thread the needle. Okay, and then finally, we can lift the upper body up, even letting go of the strap here, reaching the arms high. We reach the left leg long to hover and bring it back in. Long to hover. Back in. Now the angle at which you extend the left leg might need to be higher, like I'm showing here, 45 degrees or so. You might need to interlace your hands behind your head so that you can drop your head and look at the ceiling, keeping the head and neck long, or the neck long anyway, and more relaxed. So this is a core strengthener where the shoulder blades are lifting and the left leg is moving in and out. We slowly lower down. Place the feet flat and do our classic gentle windshield wipers. The ones where your feet are only about mat width apart, but they are mat width apart. So it's bigger than a bridge pose separation between your feet. All right, now finally, we'll do our figure 4 on the second side. I'll start with the 2 feet in the strap. You may not need this. We lower the legs to about 45. Now the left ankle slides up the top of the right thigh till it's above the knee, and then we bring the right knee into a bent knee position. That's your figure 4. You can hold on to the strap to maintain it, or you can let go of the strap and hold the leg. Finally, what we'll be doing here is putting your right foot down onto the mat, placing your left hand upon your inner left thigh or knee, and see if it's feasible to lift your left foot off of your right thigh and bring it towards the wall behind you. So that right foot comes up off, comes up off of your right thigh. Pressing your low back flat. All right, now using your strap under your right foot to help you come on in. You can even hold the strap with one hand and lift your shoulder blades and hold the back of your head with your other hand. For some, it's more fun to reach up to the ceiling. For others, holding the head is far preferable. If you don't need the strap, you can drop it. And now once again, option to extend your leg, right leg this time, to hover. Pressing your low back flat the whole time, gazing at the ceiling slightly behind you. Lift the shoulder blades, but relax your neck. Drop your head back into your hands and gaze at the ceiling behind you. Kicking through that right heel, squeezing the buttocks, flattening the back. And last one, figure 4, and down we come. Gently take the knees into the chest and make 2 butterfly knee circles. The feet are flexed, the knees are bent. I'm going to pull the knees into the chest together, separate them as wide as they'll go, push them away from the body, separate, and then bring them back in. So we have 2 symmetrical movements here. And then reverse it, opposite direction. And out we come. Extending the legs long, turn the soles of the feet to press down to the foot of your mat. Gently squeeze the inner legs, inner thighs together, engage your buttock muscles. Reach the arms overhead, either right by your ears or wider in more of a Y shape. And as you squeeze the inner thighs, slightly tuck the chin, spread through the toes, squeeze the buttocks, and then relax. Take a moment to reset your arms and your legs, softening into your relaxation position. I often like to take the blanket at this point roll up the front edge only. Have the blanket itself that's underneath the skull be relatively low, not very high, but the roll under the neck meets the curve of the muscles at the back of the neck. Take a few moments to settle in and settle down and give your body a chance to integrate all that you've just done to rebalance your hips. Take your time, ignore me, let the video stop, and continue with your rest, or gently roll to the side, pausing there for a moment or two before you come to a seated position, as long as it's comfortable for your hips, back, and ankles, knees. Take a deep breath in, fill up, and let it go. Thank you for joining me.